Welcome to Pepper Shock Media's Marketing Expedition podcast, keeping you up to date with the latest in marketing and advertising. Now here's your host, Rhea Allen.
Welcome to the Marketing Expedition podcast and webinar series. Today I am with Dan Harrington from NLP Secure and
MaxGiving.
All right. So first of all, give us a little history about who you are and where NLP came from, and then get into MaxGiving a little bit, just so we have an idea of who Dan Harrington is.
Sure. Well, NLP Secure has been in business over 18 years. We're an electronic payments company that serves businesses and primarily gets our business through referrals from banks, software companies, and industry partners. So people that are solving business problems, and we are moving the money associated with solving those problems.
I didn't realize it was so you started a little before I did. So NLP Secure has been around for 18 years?
Yep, and actually I was not one of the founders.
Okay.
I inherited it from a couple of gentlemen that started before me, and they decided that they needed a younger guy, a more techie guy, somebody with fresh new ideas. Okay. They were in the business of call centers and a lot of outbound calls and not a lot of relationship, and it just wasn't something I was comfortable with. So revamped the company and started over with referrals. And referrals, starting off a relationship where trust and relationship are already alive and well, is a big part of having a long-term healthy relationship with your clients. It's tough to trust somebody with any sort of problem, much less your money.
Right. And especially in your industry, right? I mean, some people have kind of made a bad rap for your industry, but now you have kind of stepped out of that bad era that has happened, right?
Yeah, so it's interesting that when you're in the business of helping people with money, whether you're in banking or mortgages or investments, insurance, there's pretty substantial government oversight, which sometimes raises costs and helps businesses away from helping the clients and more into a whole ton of red tape and paperwork. We have the freedom in our industry to be self-accountable. We're accountable to industry titans like Visa, MasterCard, American Express, Discover. We work with the largest banks, and they regulate us, they check up on us, they make sure we're doing our job, but sometimes that's not enough. Sometimes people take the opportunity to do what's not right and to, maybe use technology to not serve their clients rather than use technology to help people, do better business or make business more efficient.
And speaking of helping people, MaxGiving has become an enormous thing now. What's going on with MaxGiving?
Well, MaxGiving for me is, our gift to the community. It's our ability to show our hearts and where we're at. Every fundraising event that happens, whether it's an auction or a golf scramble, or when people are coming together to help each other, it's, moving the money is just one aspect of the event. Doing the work ahead of the time, selling tickets, registration, tables, sponsorships. We're starting to run a real business, and items, bidders, donors, tax receipts. There's a lot of detail that goes into running a successful event. The thing about fundraising is if you're having fun, you shouldn't feel that business. It should just be transparent to the patrons, the donors, the sponsors, the people that are making the event happen by their presence. We want to make that as healthy and functional and feel good as possible. And thankfully, we get to use our electronic payments expertise as well as our heart for our community to help enable other businesses, banks, credit unions, software companies reach out and show their hearts as well. So we're in a huge privileged position to be a bit of a pioneer, but also to find that community in other technology companies that help us do what we do.
Okay, let's talk about your team that helps support NLP Secure and MaxGiving. And tell me about your hiring practices and the things that you look for when you want to hire the right people. Tell me about who you have working for you.
Well, we have a couple dozen of really great people. It's interesting that we don't typically put out a lot of job ads, the things that you might typically see out looking for people. life has a way of introducing us to great people that are drawn to us. And I think that deliberate, culture creation it's deliberate. It's not accidental. And we're trying to be better every day, and we learn lessons every day for how to solve bigger problems, how to, help the community more. When we bring people in the door, one of my biggest, tests is, are you charitable? Are you active in your community? Do you, look for opportunity to help others? Because that spills over into customer service, into your mindset of whether you're in sales, customer service, technology. Do you have an attitude of helping? And if you don't, you wouldn't last very long in our company. We take on the problems of our clients, and sometimes it's pretty challenging. And if we don't have that attitude of service, the attitude of team, the attitude of, I hope everybody involved is better off because of our presence, that's what are we in business for?
Tell me about some of the things that you do with your team that maybe stand out in your mind that help build your culture, that have made, over the years that you've been doing what you're doing. What are some things that you do with your team that kind of helps bring them together, the teamwork, all of the things that encompass what your culture is?
Well, First Friday, once a month, we have lunch at our office. We invite usually about 100, 150 people, as many, show up. It's business people, students, people learning. It's anybody who wants to know about us, our current customers. And we just sit down and have lunch, network, build business. And we also spend a few minutes learning about a nonprofit. We invite a nonprofit into our office, into our First Friday, as a way of helping them not only have some exposure in the market, but also new opportunities for our people to connect. Guests of ours at First Friday get to connect with that nonprofit. There's 4 ways to give: time, treasure, talent, and influence. And, some people, they're busy, they're short on money, but everybody can give something. Right. So I like to encourage 100% participation. And First Friday is a big kind of a monthly reset button for our culture of our company to remind us, why we're all there. Because every day, it gets busy, and sometimes it's easy to forget why we're here. And that First Friday is another way of helping to do that. I'm always surprised at how our team reaches down, digs deep, and helps one of us. Somebody has some challenge. They don't gossip about it. They just go fix it. Somebody has a broken car. Somebody's water heaters needs replacing. I think I'm always surprised at the cool things that our team members do for each other. And I think those problems, as we serve other people, our own problems, really shrink. Right. And the frustrations go down, and we have, a more rewarding lifestyle. Introducing our team into nonprofit event fundraising has been therapeutic. It's been healing. People go through tough times. Everybody goes through seasons of their life, and when they can see that others are less fortunate, other people, maybe are having health challenges or housing problems, or it's just a great way of getting life into perspective. And, your own troubles seem to kind of drift away a little bit, even for an evening or a few minutes together building, there's people around me that can help me solve my problems. I'm not alone. And I love that aspect of our culture. I love that aspect of our people where, it's infectious. And people are either pulled into it, they're either magnetized by it and drawn closer to our company, or it's not for them right now, and that's okay. Just not in our company.
Well, we were talking about how culture enhances your brand, and vice versa. Your brand is your culture. And by being involved in nonprofits, it helps build your company culture, and it shows the community that you are involved in your community and you want to stand out and help them. What are some examples of how companies can help build their brand when they get involved in nonprofits?
I think it's great when a business can talk about being charitable without feeling like they're somehow bragging about it. And I think the leadership of business owners, how they spend their time, maybe they don't have a lot of money to donate, but they have enough money to sponsor a table at a fundraiser. It's you know, if you're going to take your employees out to dinner, how about take them out to dinner at a fundraiser? Spending their time, you know, how do people spend their free time? As owners, as business leaders and managers, people have a way of knowing that, and you know, social media kind of brings it out to light. There's nothing wrong with encouragement. I call it an influence donation. If somebody makes an influence donation, they're encouraging other people to do better, to be more, and that is, you know, it's, yeah, let's face it, it's maybe a bit of branding, it's a little bit of seasoning in their company brand, but how they spend their time and their money and how they encourage other people can spill right over into what people perceive them to be. Are they customer service oriented? Do they care about people? Are they problem solvers? If they're solving the community's problems, chances are they're going to care about problems in their company or problems with their customers, you know, and take ownership. Everybody has challenges as a business in growth, in changes, but when people understand that, you know, you have a spirit of giving and caring, they're more likely to bear with you while you're working those problems out.
So we talked about your team, we talked about where NLP kind of came from, but where did Dan Harrington come from? I recently got to hear your story, and I just, you don't have to talk a lot about it, but I just want to know a little bit and share with our audience. Who is Dan Harrington?
Well, you know, I grew up on a farm. I'm number 7 out of 12 kids.
Wow.
My parents met at Boston, Harvard Radcliffe. My mom's from Cody, Wyoming. My dad's from Brooklyn, New York. And came to Boise and very deliberately raised kids. We were, to my best knowledge, the first family in the state of Idaho to be homeschooled.
Now, why did they come to Boise?
Well, you know, they thought their life of academia was for them. You know, Harvard Radcliffe. My mom was very scholastically minded, and you know, due to some, you know, really realizing that family meant more than career to them, building a strong family was really everything in our lives. And we had a family business. We all worked at home. We learned
farm, right?
on the farm. Yeah. We had, you know, almost acres of greenhouses where we were able to grow sprouts. We made tofu. We made soy milk. We had greenhouse produce and produce in the field as well. It really taught me hard work, maybe a little bit too effectively. But I do enjoy work. You know, I enjoy making a difference. And then, you know, found my way to go to school at U of I. At one point, I think there were maybe almost 7 of us, including mom and dad, enrolled at U of I simultaneously.
Wow. You pretty much funded U of I at that point, right?
Well, you know, we did our part. Mom and dad actually went to law school after having their 12 kids.
Oh, wow.
And, you know, being small business owners, they learned, you know, a few school of hard knocks. But seeing them as business owners really set the tone for my entrepreneurial spirit. You know, I worked in the farm, in the family since a very young age, you know. I remember age 6 and 7, you know, I had a job to do. It was making a difference in the family, in our future, and it was something to be proud of. Yeah. And that's something I always treasure, those times with growing up. That really has colored my existence going to school at U of I and finding my way back to Boise, building a business here, building it with family. And my little brother, you know, work in our business, and it's just a privilege to be able to work with family. Not a lot of people get to, and when family gets to build business together, it's just it's really special.
Yeah, it does. I can attest to that. My husband and I have been in business now for almost 15 years. So people ask me, how do you do it? Well, there's a secret. Shh, don't tell anyone how you can work with family, right?
Same here.
We just do. We're used to it, and we know, and we make it happen. Yeah. So tell me about MaxGiving headquarters and the venue and the things that you're doing there. What's going on there?
So MaxGiving builds community through event fundraising technology. Our event center is all about inviting the community to come in and have business networking, First Friday BNI groups, Treasure Valley Givers, Women Ignite. We love having people come in and help us build good community through building relationships. It's a face-to-face place. It's a humble event center. We don't have all sorts of bells and whistles, but it does a job, especially for people that have budgets that maybe not fit other event centers. We really look, to get people involved in the community, and our First Friday events are a great way. Our lunch and learns as well for nonprofits. Get them thinking outside of themselves, get them more involved. It's about giving. If we can give our event center to the community and have people run better events, have people learn about building better business, that's what our event center is all about.
Excellent. And you said that so every first Friday, how do people get to come to that event?
Well, they RSVP to our First Friday. Currently, there's no charge.
Okay.
And maybe taking some donations, but our First Friday is about business networking, community relationships, good food, and also listening for a few minutes to a nonprofit organization tell about how to engage. There's 4 ways to give: time, treasure, talent, and influence. And really everybody can have 100% participation using one of those 4 ways. And so First Friday is about connecting people with maybe new ways of community involvement, as well as learn about maybe there's other people having bigger problems than they do. And I find hearing about nonprofits at First Friday very therapeutic. It helps me step out of my own life for a few minutes, and that's why we have First Friday.
Okay, I'm going to throw one more last question at you. What's the best piece of advice anyone has ever given you in business, and why?
Oh my gosh.
Can you come up with anything?
Yep.
Okay. Hit me. What is it?
The best piece of advice I ever received was from a gentleman named Wiley Griffith. He said, don't say whoa in a mud hole.
Good.
Sometimes, you get stuck. Sometimes you feel like, how's this ever going to, get out of this situation? And, don't say whoa, just keep on going.
Keep going
and, and that's helped me through a lot of tough times. Wiley's a good friend and a mentor, and that's probably one of my favorite.
Yeah, I like it. Don't say whoa in a mud hole. All right. Well, thanks so much, Dan Harrington from NLP Secure and MaxGiving, for joining us. And thank you for listening and watching our Marketing Expedition podcast and webinar series. And we'll see you next time.
Thanks for listening to the Marketing Expedition podcast. Find more online at peppershock.com.